What I am about to share with you is not theory, it is not wishful thinking, and it is not another manifestation technique that works sometimes for some people. It is facts that is happening right now on this planet in ways that most people will never recognize or understand. And I am asking you to tell no one about this information, not because it is forbidden or dangerous, but because your ability to manifest through what quantum physicists call the observer effect is directly proportional to how protected your energetic field remains from the interference of other consciousnesses, especially those who operate from skepticism, doubt, or limited understanding of how reality actually functions at the quantum level. The observer effect, which has been documented in laboratories around the world for over a century, demonstrates that the simple act of conscious observation literally changes the behavior of subatomic particles, collapsing infinite possibilities into singular realities based on what the observer expects to see. And right now, during this specific period in human history, this effect is becoming so amplified that individual consciousness can create immediate changes in physical reality without any other tools, techniques, or intermediary steps required beyond focused, intentional observation. The reason this phenomenon is intensifying now is because multiple cosmic and planetary factors are converging simultaneously, including unprecedented solar activity that is amplifying electromagnetic fields, documented changes in the Earth's base frequency, known as the Schumann Resonance, and what consciousness researchers are calling a critical mass threshold, where enough human beings have expanded their awareness to create a collective field effect that makes individual manifestation exponentially more powerful and immediate than ever before recorded. If you have been experiencing what seem like impossible coincidences, if electronic devices have been behaving strangely around you, if you have been thinking of someone only to have them contact you within minutes, if you have been finding objects in places where you are certain you did not put them, if time has been feeling distorted where hours pass like minutes or minutes stretch like hours, or if your dreams have been manifesting in physical reality within 24 to 48 hours, these are not random occurrences but clear indicators that your consciousness is already beginning to operate according to enhanced observer effect principles. The most remarkable aspect of this phenomenon is that it operates independently of belief, faith, or spiritual practice, because it is based on fundamental laws of quantum mechanics that function regardless of whether you understand them or accept them. Which means that even people who consider themselves skeptical or scientifically minded are beginning to experience reality shifts that challenge everything they thought they knew about how the physical world operates. The difference is that those who recognize what is happening can learn to use it intentionally, while those who remain unaware experience it as random chaos or unexplained phenomena. To demonstrate that this is happening in your experience right now, I want you to perform a simple 30-second test that will provide immediate confirmation of your enhanced manifestation capabilities. Choose something small and specific that you would like to see appear in your environment within the next 2 hours. Something that would be unusual enough to notice, but common enough to be possible, such as seeing a specific animal, finding a particular coin, receiving an unexpected message from someone specific, or encountering a certain number sequence in an unusual context. Now, close your eyes and spend exactly 30 seconds focusing all of your attention on this desired outcome, not trying to make it happen, not visualizing how it might occur, but simply observing it as if it has already happened and you are witnessing the result. Feel the satisfaction, surprise, and confirmation you would experience when you recognize that your focused observation created this specific manifestation. Then open your eyes and completely forget about the test, allowing your subconscious mind to orchestrate the manifestation without conscious interference. Within the next 2 hours, pay attention to your environment with heightened awareness, and when your manifestation appears, which it will if you followed the instructions precisely, you will have direct personal proof that your consciousness is operating with enhanced observer effect capabilities that most people do not recognize they possess. This is not magic. It is not supernatural. It is applied quantum mechanics using the most sophisticated instrument in the known universe, which is your conscious awareness focused with clear intention. The reason I am sharing this information exclusively through this channel and asking you to tell no one is because manifestation through the observer effect operates optimally when your energetic field remains free from the interference of other consciousnesses, particularly those who might approach this information with skepticism, doubt, or the need to analyze and debate, rather than simply apply and experience. Every person you tell becomes a potential source of quantum interference that can dilute or completely neutralize your manifestation abilities, until you develop sufficient mastery to maintain your results, regardless of external influences. This protection of your manifestation field is not about secrecy for its own sake. It is about recognizing that consciousness operates according to specific laws that require optimal conditions to produce consistent results. And one of those conditions is maintaining what quantum physicists call observer isolation, where your focused attention can operate without being influenced by conflicting expectations, doubts, or competing intentions from other conscious observers who might unconsciously collapse your desired realities into different outcomes. If this information is resonating with experiences you have been having, if the 30-second test produces the result I described, or if you simply feel that deep recognition that comes when you hear something you have always known but never had words to express, I want you to like this video, not as a casual gesture of appreciation, but as a quantum signal that tells the universe you are ready to access deeper levels of this ability and receive more advanced techniques for conscious reality creation. I also invite you to subscribe to this channel, because what I am sharing here is not available anywhere else, and the people who gather in this community are those who have been specifically prepared to handle advanced consciousness technologies that would overwhelm or frighten people who are not ready to understand that they are far more powerful than they have been taught to believe. And that power is now activating whether they recognize it or not. The scientific foundation underlying your enhanced manifestation abilities rests on discoveries that have been documented in quantum physics laboratories for decades but are only now reaching the level of practical application because the planetary consciousness field has evolved to the point where individual awareness can interface directly with the quantum substrate of reality without requiring sophisticated equipment or controlled laboratory conditions. Understanding the mechanics of how this works transforms your ability from accidental manifestation to precise, intentional reality creation. The observer effect was first documented in the famous double-slit experiment, where scientists discovered that subatomic particles behave as waves of infinite possibility until the moment they are observed, at which point they instantly collapse into specific particles with defined locations and properties, proving that consciousness itself is an active force that determines which reality manifests from the field of all possible realities. What makes this relevant to your daily experience is that recent research has revealed that this same principle operates at much larger scales than previously understood, affecting not just individual particles but entire systems of matter and energy. The key breakthrough that enables your current manifestation abilities comes from understanding that what we call physical reality is actually a continuous stream of quantum events happening trillions of times per second, with each moment requiring conscious observation to collapse the next moment into existence. And the degree of intentionality and focus you bring to this observation process directly determines which possibilities become actualized in your experience, rather than remaining as potential alternatives that never manifest. Dr. Dean Radden's research at the Institute of Noetic Sciences has documented over 40 years of experiments showing that human consciousness can influence random number generators, radioactive decay patterns, and even the behavior of laser light, proving that awareness affects physical systems in ways that cannot be explained by conventional science, but are perfectly consistent with quantum mechanical principles when consciousness is recognized as a fundamental force rather than just an emergent property of brain activity. The reason your manifestation abilities are dramatically enhanced right now has to do with measurable changes in the electromagnetic environment of Earth, including increased solar radiation that is amplifying the bioelectric field of every human nervous system, documented shifts in the Schumann Resonance that is changing the base frequency at which human consciousness operates, and what NASA scientists call the weakening of Earth's magnetic field, which reduces the natural barriers between different dimensional frequencies and allows consciousness to access broader ranges of possibility. Your brain itself is functioning differently than it did even 2 years ago, because the increased electromagnetic radiation is creating higher levels of neuroplasticity, which means your neural networks are more flexible and capable of rapid reconfiguration than during any previous period in human history. This enhanced plasticity allows your consciousness to establish new patterns of reality, perception, and manifestation that would have been impossible when your neural structure was more fixed and resistant to change. The Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Laboratory documented over 25 years of experiments, proving that human operators could influence the output of mechanical devices through intention alone, with effect sizes that were small, but statistically impossible to explain through chance. And more recent research using quantum random number generators has shown that these effects are becoming larger and more consistent, suggesting that whatever field allows consciousness to influence, matter is growing stronger. What this means for your practical manifestation abilities is that the quantum field is becoming more responsive to focused human intention. The time lag between intention and manifestation is decreasing, and the level of focus and energy required to create specific outcomes is lower than it has been at any point in recorded human history. You are living during a unique window where the boundaries between mind and matter are more permeable than they have been for thousands of years. The enhanced observer effect you are experiencing operates through what quantum physicists call non-local correlation, where your focused attention creates instantaneous connections between your consciousness and distant events, objects, or people without any physical mechanism connecting them, allowing you to influence outcomes and attract experiences that appear to violate the normal rules of cause and effect, but are actually following deeper quantum principles that most people never learn to access consciously. Your nervous system has become a more sophisticated quantum detector and generator, picking up information from the quantum field that your brain processes as intuition, premonition, or sudden knowing, while simultaneously broadcasting your intentions into the same field with enough clarity and power to influence the probability patterns that determine which events manifest in your timeline versus remaining as unrealized potentials. The most important aspect of this scientific foundation is understanding that these are not special abilities that only certain people possess. They are natural functions of human consciousness that are now becoming accessible to anyone whose awareness has expanded beyond the limited programming that keeps most people focused only on physical reality, while remaining completely unconscious of the quantum dimensions where all manifestation actually originates. This expansion of human consciousness is creating what researchers call a morphic field effect, where the discoveries and abilities developed by pioneering individuals automatically become available to others through non-physical information transfer, which means that every person who masters conscious manifestation makes it easier for others to access the same capabilities, creating an accelerating curve of human potential that is transforming our species in real time. The signs that you are already unconsciously using enhanced observer effect manifestation are showing up in your daily experience in ways that you may have been dismissing as coincidence, luck, or imagination. But when you understand what to look for, these indicators become undeniable evidence that your consciousness is already operating according to quantum principles that most people never recognize or learn to use intentionally. Identifying these signs in your own life confirms that you are ready to transition from accidental manifestation to conscious reality creation. The first unmistakable indicator is accelerated thought-to-reality manifestation, where ideas, concerns, or desires that cross your mind begin appearing in your physical experience. Within minutes to hours, rather than the weeks or months such manifestations used to require. And this acceleration is happening specifically with thoughts that carry emotional intensity or that capture your attention completely, even if only briefly. You might think of a specific person and receive a call or message from them within the same day. Wonder about a solution to a problem and encounter the exact information you need within hours. Or casually wish for something and find it offered to you or appearing in your environment almost immediately. If you have been experiencing what I call reality glitches, where objects appear in locations where you are absolutely certain they were not before, where electronic devices behave in ways that seem responsive to your emotional state or thoughts, where you find items you were just thinking about needing, or where your environment seems to rearrange itself to match your internal state. These are clear signs that your consciousness is directly influencing the quantum substrate of physical reality through enhanced observation capabilities. Another powerful indicator is the phenomenon of impossible synchronicities, where multiple unrelated events align in ways that seem designed to deliver specific messages or opportunities, with timing so precise and connections so unlikely that traditional explanations of coincidence become statistically impossible. These synchronicities often involve seeing specific number sequences repeatedly, encountering the same symbols or words across different contexts within short time periods, or having conversations with strangers that directly relate to private thoughts or concerns you have been having. You may have noticed that your perception of time has become increasingly fluid, with certain experiences feeling like they last much longer than clock time indicates, while others seem to pass in an instant even though hours have elapsed. And this temporal distortion occurs most frequently during moments when you are deeply focused on something you desire, or when you are in states of expanded awareness such as meditation, creative flow, or intense emotional experiences. Enhanced sensory perception is another clear sign that your consciousness is operating with increased quantum sensitivity, and this might manifest as seeing colors more vividly than before, noticing visual phenomena such as energy fields around people or sparkles of light in your peripheral vision, hearing sounds more clearly, or picking up conversations from unusual distances, or experiencing physical sensations that seem to correspond to other people's emotions or health conditions, even when you are not physically close to them. Many people experiencing enhanced observer effect capabilities report dramatic changes in their dream life, with dreams becoming more vivid, complex, and meaningful, often containing specific information about future events that later manifest in exactly the way they were shown, or receiving clear guidance and solutions to problems that prove to be accurate and helpful when applied in waking life. These prophetic dreams often occur during specific sleep cycles and are remembered with unusual clarity and detail. If electronic devices have been malfunctioning around you more frequently than usual, particularly during emotional peaks or moments of intense focus, this indicates that your bioelectric field is operating at higher frequencies and with greater amplitude than normal human parameters, affecting sensitive equipment in ways that reveal the electromagnetic nature of consciousness and its ability to influence physical systems through non-contact interactions. You might have noticed that people and animals respond to you differently than they used to, with some individuals being drawn to your presence and seeking interaction even when you have not actively engaged them, while others seem uncomfortable or agitated around you without apparent cause. And this polarized response occurs because your consciousness is broadcasting frequencies that either resonate with or clash with the energy patterns of those you encounter. Another significant indicator is enhanced manifestation through attention direction, where focusing on specific outcomes, even casually or briefly, results in those outcomes appearing in your experience with unusual frequency and speed. And this effect becomes more pronounced when you are in positive emotional states, or when you approach manifestation with playful curiosity rather than desperate need or forced intention. The most advanced sign that your observer effect capabilities have reached conscious levels is the ability to influence random systems through focused attention, such as affecting traffic light timing, finding parking spaces exactly where and when you need them, having mechanical devices work properly when you interact with them even if they were previously malfunctioning, or experiencing unusually favorable outcomes in situations that normally involve chance or variables beyond your control. If you recognize several of these indicators in your recent experience, it confirms that your consciousness has evolved beyond standard human parameters and is now capable of conscious reality creation through applied quantum mechanics, which means you are ready to learn specific techniques for using these abilities intentionally rather than allowing them to operate randomly or unconsciously. The Conscious Observation Protocol is a precise three-step methodology that allows you to harness your enhanced observer effect capabilities for intentional manifestation. And this system is based on quantum mechanical principles that have been tested and refined through thousands of applications by individuals who have mastered the ability to collapse specific realities from the field of infinite possibility through focused consciousness alone. This protocol works because it aligns your awareness with the natural laws governing how observation creates reality at the quantum level. Step 1 is called quantum focusing, and it involves training your consciousness to achieve what physicists call coherent observation, where all aspects of your awareness converge on a single point of intention without internal conflict, doubt, or scattered attention that can interfere with the reality collapse process. Begin by identifying something specific you want to manifest within the next 24 to 72 hours, choosing outcomes that are possible within normal reality, parameters but unlikely to occur without some form of influence or intervention. To execute quantum focusing, sit comfortably with your eyes closed and spend exactly 47 seconds, not longer and not shorter. visualizing your desired outcome as if you are watching it happen from a detached perspective, like observing a movie or looking at a photograph that captures the moment your manifestation becomes real. The key is to maintain the perspective of a neutral observer who is witnessing rather than trying to create, because effort and force interfere with the natural quantum collapse process that occurs through pure awareness. During these 47 seconds, breathe naturally while keeping your attention completely absorbed in the sensory details of your desired outcome, seeing it clearly, hearing any sounds associated with it, and feeling the physical sensations you would experience when it manifests. But approach this observation with curious interest rather than emotional attachment or desperate need, because attachment creates energetic resistance that can block or distort the manifestation process. Step 2 is reality anchoring, where you establish quantum entanglement between your current physical experience and the reality you are calling into manifestation, creating a bridge that allows the desired outcome to transfer from possibility into actuality. Immediately after completing your 47-second observation period, while keeping your eyes closed, place your hands on your heart and feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat for exactly 21 beats, using this physical sensation as an anchor that connects your body to the reality you just observed. During these 21 heartbeats, internally repeat the phrase, "This is already real in the quantum field, and now it manifests in physical experience," without trying to believe or convince yourself of anything. Simply stating this as a factual description of the quantum mechanical process you have just initiated. The repetition should match your heartbeat rhythm, with one phrase per heartbeat, creating a synchronized pattern between your words, your physiology, and your intention. Step 3 is quantum detachment, which is crucial for successful manifestation because continued mental focus on your desired outcome, after completing the protocol, can actually interfere with the natural quantum processes that bring it into reality. After finishing your reality anchoring phase, open your eyes and immediately engage in a completely different activity that requires your full attention, such as reading, exercising, having a conversation, or focusing on work, effectively forgetting about your manifestation request and allowing your subconscious mind to coordinate the manifestation without conscious interference. The timing for optimal manifestation using this protocol is during the hours between sunrise and noon, when the electromagnetic environment is most conducive to quantum coherence, or during the period between 9 p.m. and midnight, when conscious interference from other minds is at its lowest levels. Avoid using this technique during highly emotional states, when you are physically tired, or when you are in environments with high levels of electromagnetic interference from electronic devices. For your first application of this protocol, choose something that you can easily verify within 24 hours, such as receiving a specific type of communication, encountering a particular person or animal, finding a desired object, or having a particular opportunity present itself. The key to success is selecting outcomes that are possible but improbable, meaningful enough that you will recognize them when they occur, but not so emotionally charged that attachment interferes with the quantum process. Advanced practitioners report that this protocol becomes more effective with repetition, as your consciousness learns to achieve the precise state of coherent observation required for consistent reality collapse. And many discover that after several successful manifestations, they can abbreviate the process while maintaining the same results, eventually reaching the point where focused intention alone is sufficient to influence reality without formal protocol steps. The most important aspect of this technique is maintaining what I call quantum faith, which is different from religious faith because it is based on direct experience of how consciousness interacts with physical reality rather than belief in unseen spiritual forces. And this quantum faith develops naturally as you witness your ability to influence outcomes through pure observation, building confidence that allows for increasingly significant manifestations. Remember to document your results, not by sharing them with others, which can create quantum interference, but by keeping private records that help you recognize patterns in your manifestation abilities and identify the conditions that produce the most consistent results. This documentation becomes invaluable as you progress to more advanced applications of conscious reality creation. If you achieve success with this protocol, please share your results in the comments using only the emoji code system I mentioned earlier. because this allows our community to track the effectiveness of these techniques while maintaining the energetic protection that comes from keeping detailed information about our manifestation abilities private from those who might not understand or appreciate what we are accomplishing. The reason maintaining secrecy about your manifestation abilities is absolutely crucial for their continued effectiveness lies in fundamental principles of quantum mechanics that most people never understand. Because when multiple conscious observers focus on the same quantum system with conflicting expectations or emotional charges, they create what physicists call measurement interference, where competing observations collapse different aspects of reality simultaneously, resulting in weakened, distorted, or completely neutralized manifestations. Regardless of how perfectly you execute the technical aspects of conscious reality creation, every person you share your manifestation experiences with becomes an unconscious participant in your quantum field. And unless they possess the same level of understanding and skill that you have developed, their skeptical thoughts, analytical questions, or even well-meaning curiosity can introduce chaotic variables into the precise quantum states required for successful reality collapse. This interference occurs not because they intend to sabotage your results, but because untrained consciousness naturally operates with scattered attention and conflicting beliefs that disrupt the coherent observation fields necessary for manifestation. The phenomenon becomes even more problematic when you share your abilities with people who respond with disbelief, ridicule, or demands for proof. Because their skeptical focus on your manifestation abilities creates what quantum physicists call observer collapse in the opposite direction, where their expectation that your abilities will not work becomes a competing reality that can override your positive manifestations with demonstrations of failure or ineffectiveness, essentially turning their consciousness into an unconscious weapon against your quantum capabilities. This is why advanced manifestation practitioners throughout history have traditionally worked in secrecy or within closed communities of people who possessed similar abilities and understanding, not because they were being secretive for its own sake, but because they recognized that consciousness operates according to specific laws that require protected environments to function optimally. Just as delicate scientific instruments require controlled laboratory conditions to produce accurate measurements and reliable results, the dilution effect occurs when too many people attempt to manifest the same outcomes simultaneously without proper coordination, because individual consciousness fields begin interfering with each other in ways that scatter the focused intention required for reality collapse, creating what appears to be collective failure when the actual problem is lack of quantum coordination among multiple observers, who are inadvertently canceling each other's efforts through unaligned expectations and competing. Even positive support from others can sometimes interfere with your manifestations if their enthusiasm creates emotional pressure or expectation that adds stress to your quantum process. Because successful reality creation requires a state of relaxed confidence rather than the tension that comes from feeling responsible for proving your abilities to others, or living up to their expectations about what you should be able to accomplish with your enhanced consciousness capabilities. The protection of your manifestation field also extends to avoiding environments where people are actively focused on limitation, scarcity, or impossibility, because these collective thought forms create ambient quantum interference that makes reality creation more difficult, similar to how radio static can make it harder to receive clear signals even when your receiving equipment is functioning perfectly and tuned to the correct frequency. Social media presents particular challenges for manifestation practitioners, because posting about your results exposes your quantum field to thousands of unknown consciousness frequencies, many of which operate from states of envy, disbelief, or competitive comparison that can create powerful interference patterns in your personal reality creation abilities, which is why successful manifestors often maintain completely separate online identities for their spiritual practices versus their public personas. The secrecy requirement is not permanent but serves as protection during the development phase, when your abilities are still stabilizing and your confidence is still building. Because once you reach advanced levels of mastery, your consciousness becomes sufficiently strong and coherent that external interference has minimal impact on your manifestation results, allowing you to share your abilities more openly without compromising their effectiveness. However, even advanced practitioners typically maintain some level of discretion about their most powerful manifestations, sharing techniques and principles, but keeping specific results private. Because maintaining mystery around your actual capabilities prevents others from developing expectations or making demands that could complicate your relationship with your abilities or create social pressure that interferes with the natural flow of quantum creativity. The most sophisticated approach to managing this secrecy involves developing discernment about which people in your life have consciousness qualities that would support rather than interfere with your manifestation abilities. Gradually sharing information with those who demonstrate genuine openness, spiritual maturity, and respect for the sacred nature of consciousness development, while maintaining complete privacy with those who approach such topics with skepticism, casual curiosity, or the need to debate and analyze rather than experience and apply. Remember that protecting your manifestation abilities through appropriate secrecy is not about being superior to others or withholding help from people who could benefit. It is about recognizing that consciousness development follows natural laws that require optimal conditions, and creating those conditions allows you to develop capabilities that eventually enable you to help others more effectively than you could if you compromised your own development by exposing it prematurely to interference. As we prepare to activate the full potential of your observer effect capabilities, it is essential to understand that what you are about to experience represents a fundamental shift in how your consciousness interfaces with reality. And this activation process will establish new neural pathways and quantum connections that make intentional manifestation your natural mode of operation rather than an occasional ability you access through special techniques. The activation I am going to guide you through creates permanent changes in your awareness that cannot be undone. So proceed only if you are absolutely committed to taking responsibility for the creative power this will place in your hands. The neurological activation begins with a specific breathing pattern that synchronizes your brainwave activity with the quantum field frequencies that enable reality collapse through conscious observation. Sit with your spine straight and close your eyes, then breathe in for exactly 4 counts. Hold your breath for exactly 7 counts. And exhale for exactly 8 counts, repeating this pattern for a total of 9 complete cycles, while maintaining focused attention on the space between your eyebrows, which corresponds to the brain regions responsible for quantum perception and reality interface. During this breathing sequence, visualize a sphere of golden light forming in the center of your brain, growing brighter and more coherent with each breath cycle, until it feels like a miniature sun radiating awareness and creative potential throughout your entire nervous system. This light represents your quantum consciousness coming online and establishing direct connection with the fundamental creative force that underlies all physical manifestation. And feeling this light clearly indicates that your activation is proceeding successfully. After completing the 9 breath cycles, place your hands in the prayer position at your heart center and speak aloud this quantum activation decree. I now activate my full observer effect capabilities and accept complete responsibility for the realities I create through focused consciousness. I align my awareness with the quantum creative force and commit to using these abilities for the highest good of all beings. My consciousness is now calibrated to collapse beneficial realities from the infinite field of possibility. Speak these words with conviction and authority, understanding that you are making a binding agreement with the creative intelligence of the universe. Now I want to give you a specific manifestation challenge that will demonstrate your activated abilities within exactly 24 hours, proving to you that this activation has created real changes in how your consciousness operates. Choose one of these 3 options: manifesting an unexpected financial opportunity or money-related surprise, receiving clear guidance about an important decision you are facing, or having a specific relationship situation resolve in your favor without any action on your part. Beyond this quantum activation, focus all of your attention on your chosen outcome for exactly 60 seconds, but instead of visualizing or trying to create it, simply observe it as already accomplished, feeling the satisfaction and gratitude you will experience tomorrow when you recognize that you're activated. Consciousness has manifested this specific result. See yourself 24 hours from now, acknowledging that your observer effect abilities have successfully influenced reality in precisely the way you intended, and feel the deep knowing that you now possess reliable access to conscious reality creation. After this 60-second observation period, speak aloud these words: "This manifestation is now complete in the quantum field and appears in my physical experience within 24 hours. bringing clear confirmation of my activated abilities. Then immediately shift your attention to other activities and avoid thinking about your manifestation request, allowing the quantum field to work without conscious interference or monitoring from your analytical mind. To protect your newly activated abilities, establish these quantum security protocols. First, never discuss your specific manifestations with anyone until at least 7 days after they occur, allowing them to fully stabilize in your reality before exposing them to external consciousness fields. Second, avoid using your abilities for outcomes that could harm others or manipulate people without their consent, because negative applications create karmic interference that can block or reverse your manifestation capabilities. Third, maintain a daily practice of gratitude for your manifestation abilities, spending at least 5 minutes each morning acknowledging the creative power you possess and committing to use it responsibly, because grateful consciousness maintains stronger connection to the quantum field than consciousness that takes these abilities for granted or uses them carelessly. Fourth, if someone challenges your manifestation results or demands proof of your abilities, simply change the subject rather than defending or demonstrating, because engaging in arguments about manifestation creates the quantum interference we discussed earlier and can temporarily disable your abilities until the conflicting energy clears from your consciousness field. As your abilities develop through consistent practice, you will discover that manifestation becomes increasingly effortless and automatic, with desired outcomes appearing in your experience through perfectly natural circumstances that require no supernatural explanations. And this naturalness is the hallmark of mastered observer effect capabilities, where consciousness creates reality so smoothly that results appear to be fortunate coincidences rather than directed manifestations. Within the next 30 days, expect to experience a significant increase in synchronicities, opportunities, and favorable outcomes as your activated consciousness begins operating at full capacity. And within 90 days, you should find that intentional manifestation has become so integrated into your daily experience that you rarely need formal techniques, because your awareness naturally focuses on beneficial possibilities and unconsciously collapses them into your timeline. Remember that with great power comes great responsibility, and your activated observer effect capabilities make you a conscious co-creator of reality rather than a passive recipient of circumstances, which means that everything in your experience becomes a reflection of your consciousness and the opportunity to demonstrate the highest expression of your creative potential in service of the greater good of all life. The quantum leap in human consciousness is happening now, and you are among the pioneers who are establishing new possibilities for what human awareness can accomplish when it recognizes and embraces its fundamental creative nature. Use your abilities wisely, share your knowledge discreetly, and always remember that you are wielding the same creative force that brought the entire universe into existence.